Welcome to Whispering Pages. You made a choice tonight. A quiet one. You chose to end the day with something useful, not with the scroll or the noise or the glow of a screen. And that choice, small as it seems, is the kind of thing that compounds over time into a very different life. I'm glad you're here. Before we begin, I want to give you a moment. Just for you. Right now, notice where you are. The bed beneath you. The ceiling above. The particular quiet of this room at this hour. You don't have to be anywhere else right now. You don't have to figure anything out. Whatever is unresolved from today can stay unresolved for tonight. It will be there tomorrow, and you can meet it then, from a rested place. Let your body go a little heavier. Feel that? That's you arriving. Not performing, not producing, not solving, just arriving. Let your hands relax. Soften the muscles around your eyes. If your mind wants to wander toward tomorrow's list, gently bring it back. You're here now. That's enough. Here's something that might help you sink a little deeper into this moment. The 30 minutes before sleep is genuinely one of the most powerful learning windows your brain has. As you transition toward rest, your mind opens up in a particular way. Information absorbed now doesn't just pass through, it settles in. It consolidates into memory while you sleep. What you hear in this quiet window tends to stick in a way that afternoon reading simply doesn't. So you're not just resting tonight. You're learning in the most efficient way your brain knows how. Tonight's book is called $100 Million Offers, written by Alex Hormozi, published in 2021. It's a book about how to construct offers, the things you put in front of customers, so compelling, so well-built, so apparently obvious in their value that people feel almost foolish saying no. It's a book about pricing, about what value really means, about why most businesses are invisible to their customers for completely fixable reasons. So let's begin. Get comfortable. Close your eyes if you'd like. And let's whisper through this one together. It's Christmas Eve, 2016. Alex Hormozi is sitting in a children's playroom, surrounded by dolls and toy cars, because that's the only space his girlfriend's parents could offer him as a home office. He's on the phone with a payment processor, learning that $120,000 in revenue he just generated has been frozen. He doesn't know when, or if, he'll see it. He wires his last dollar to his salesman because that man has a pregnant wife. His bank account reads $1,036. 2 days later, he launches 6 gym campaigns simultaneously with a company credit card, going $3,300 further into debt every single day. And somehow, through an offer he'd spent years refining, within 1 month, he'd made $100,000. Within 12 months, $3 million in profit. Within 3 years, a portfolio of businesses generating over $1,600,000 per week. Not because he worked harder than everyone else, but because of a single skill, the ability to make an offer so good that people felt, as he puts it, stupid saying no. This is what the entire book is about. Not marketing theory. Not motivational advice. A precise, step-by-step system for constructing what Hormozi calls a grand slam offer. So what's an offer, exactly? Hormozi is very specific about this. An offer is the full package, what you're giving, how you're pricing it, and the terms of the exchange. It's the very first thing a new customer encounters. And most entrepreneurs, he argues, are getting this almost entirely wrong. The core problem is commoditization. When what you sell looks like what everyone else sells, the customer's only remaining question is who's cheapest. You're not competing on value anymore. You've accidentally entered a race to the bottom, and the only prize is a business that barely keeps the lights on. The Grand Slam offer solves this by making your offer genuinely incomparable. Not just better, so different in structure that a customer can't hold it up next to a competitor and say, "These are the same thing." When there's no comparison, the purchasing decision shifts from who's cheapest to can I afford not to do this. That's a very different conversation. But before you can build an offer like this, Hormozi says, you have to understand your market. And here he offers something simpler and more useful than most marketing frameworks. Think in terms of a starving crowd. A marketing professor once asked his students, if you could only have one advantage over every other hot dog vendor in the world, what would it be? The students offered location, price, quality, customer service. The professor said none of those. He said, a starving crowd. The best offer in the world, given to people who don't desperately want what you're selling, will fail. The most mediocre offer in the world, given to people in genuine pain who urgently need a solution, will succeed. Hormozi tells the story of his friend Lloyd, who spent years trying to sell software to newspapers, a dying industry. Lloyd had a great offer, real talent, genuine ability. But he was selling to a shrinking crowd. When COVID hit, Lloyd pivoted to manufacturing masks and built a multi-million-dollar business in months. Same entrepreneur, same skills, different market. So how do you find the right market? Hormozi gives 4 criteria to look for. First, massive pain, not mild inconvenience, but genuine suffering that makes someone willing to pay to make it stop. Second, purchasing power. They need to actually be able to afford what you charge. Third, easy to target. You need to be able to reach these people consistently, which means they congregate somewhere, associations, platforms, communities. And fourth, a growing market, not necessarily exploding, but not dying. Headwinds are real, and no offer overcomes a category in collapse. And once you've found that right market, Hormozi makes a point that most entrepreneurs resist almost viscerally. You should charge far more than you think. Not because you want to extract money, but because of something he calls the virtuous cycle of price. When you charge more, your clients invest more emotionally. They show up more. They follow through more. And because they follow through, they actually get better results, which builds your reputation and makes your business more valuable. When you charge less, the opposite is true. You attract clients who aren't committed. They don't do the work. They blame you when it doesn't work. Your reputation suffers. Your ability to invest in quality crumbles. Hormozi tells his father about this, about charging gym owners $42,000 a year. His father's first question, is it legal what you're doing? His second, do they know they're paying you that much? And Hormozi walks him through the math. If I make you $239,000 extra this year, would you pay me $42,000? For 15 hours of work a week over 11 months? His father immediately got it. Of course. That's a bargain. That's the framing Hormozi wants you to carry into everything. Your price should feel like a bargain relative to the value you create. And value, he says, is not what something costs you to deliver, it's what it's worth to the person receiving it. Which brings us to the most important concept in the entire book, the value equation. The value equation is a framework Hormozi built to explain why some offers feel worth 10 times their price and others feel like a rip-off at a fraction of the cost. It has 4 components. Do you want to increase? Do you want to decrease? The first is the dream outcome, what the customer is actually buying. Not the product, not the features, but the life they imagine on the other side of the purchase. The gym owner doesn't want your marketing software. They want a full gym and the financial piece that comes with it. The weight loss client doesn't want a membership. They want to feel confident in their body again. The clearer you can articulate what they're truly dreaming of, and the more vividly you reflect it back to them, the more valuable your offer feels. The second is the perceived likelihood of achievement. This is how confident the customer is that the dream will actually happen for them. It's not enough for the outcome to sound appealing. They have to believe it's achievable for them, specifically, with your help. Social proof matters here. Case studies matter. The specificity of your guarantee matters. When a prospect thinks, "I believe this will actually work for me," the value of the offer multiplies. The third is time delay, how long between purchase and results. The shorter this gap, the more valuable the offer. This is why liposuction commands thousands of dollars while gym memberships struggle to charge $50 a month. Both promise the same outcome. But one delivers a physical result in an afternoon, the other requires 12 months of daily discipline. Hormozi's insight is that the best businesses engineer early wins, quick emotional victories that give a new customer proof they made the right decision, long before they reach the ultimate outcome. And the fourth is perceived effort and sacrifice, how hard, confusing, or painful the journey looks to the customer. The more effortless you can make the path appear, the more valuable the offer. Done for you commands premiums over do-it-yourself for exactly this reason. It's not just about saving time. It's about removing the psychological weight of having to figure it out. Here's the elegant part of this equation. Hormozi says the bottom two variables, time delay and effort, are the ones most companies ignore. Anyone can promise a big dream outcome. Anyone can show testimonials. But the businesses that truly win are the ones that make the result feel fast and easy. He points to Apple, Amazon, Netflix. All built empires by systematically eliminating friction and compressing time. The outcome wasn't always superior. The experience of getting there was. With the value equation in mind, you're ready to actually build the offer. Hormozi lays out a 5-step process. Step 1, identify the dream outcome. Be specific. Not lose weight, but lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. Not grow your business, but get 20 new clients in your first 30 days. You're not selling a flight, he says. You're selling the vacation. Step 2, list every obstacle the customer will encounter on the way to that outcome. Hormozi encourages a kind of radical thoroughness here. Think about every moment between where the customer is now and where they want to be. What will they struggle with? What will feel hard? What might stop them? What will their family or schedule or habits make difficult? He argues that most businesses solve some of the problems. Great businesses solve all of them. Step 3. Turn every obstacle into a solution. Flip the language. Buying healthy food is confusing and expensive becomes how to buy healthy food for less than your current grocery bill. I'll fall off the wagon when I travel becomes how to stay on track no matter where you are. Every problem becomes a deliverable. Step 4. Brainstorm every possible delivery vehicle for each solution. One-on-one? Small group? A recorded video? A template? A live call? A checklist? Different formats have radically different cost-to-value ratios. A pre-recorded video costs a few hours once and delivers value indefinitely. Step 5. Trim and stack. From your enormous list, cut deliverables that are high cost and low value. Keep the ones that are high value and low cost to deliver. Then bundle everything into a coherent, named, priced package that makes a customer think, I get all of this, for only that. Hormozi calls this the stack, presenting your offer's components one by one so value accumulates in the customer's mind before the price is ever mentioned. Each element earns its place by solving a specific perceived obstacle. By the time you've walked through everything, the price feels almost beside the point. He illustrates this with a gym offer he built early, a 6-week challenge that included meal plans, a grocery guide, a cooking system, a restaurant blueprint, and an accountability system, all bundled and presented as $4,351 in value, offered at $599. The gym wasn't selling a membership anymore. It was selling a transformation, supported at every step. That's what a Grand Slam offer looks like in its early form. But Hormozi has 4 more layers to add: scarcity, urgency, bonuses, and guarantees. Scarcity is one of the most misunderstood forces in business, and Hormozi spends a full chapter on it because most people either ignore it entirely or apply it clumsily in ways that undermine trust. The core idea is simple: people want what they can't have. Not because of marketing tricks, because of deep human psychology. When something is rare, we assume it must be valuable. When a slot is limited, we feel loss at the prospect of missing it. Hormozi illustrates this with a story from Arnold Schwarzenegger's charity fundraiser, where tickets were raised from $15,000 to $25,000 and the supply was cut. They raised more money than ever. The products were identical. The perceived exclusivity was not. Hormozi offers 3 practical approaches to scarcity. The first is a total capacity cap. You only service a certain number of clients at any given time. When a slot opens, it fills quickly. The second is a cohort cap. You start new clients in batches, so at any moment only a fixed number of spots are available for the next intake. The third is a permanent limit. This offer, at this price, with these bonuses, will never exist again after a certain date. And he makes an important point: the most effective scarcity is honest scarcity. If you genuinely can only handle 20 new clients this quarter, say so. If you're starting a new cohort on Monday and there are only 3 spots, tell people. You don't have to manufacture what's already real. Real limits, communicated clearly, create legitimate urgency. Speaking of which, urgency and scarcity are different. Scarcity is about quantity, how many. Urgency is about time, how long. Hormozi's favorite method is cohort-based rolling urgency. If you start new clients every week or every month, there's always a natural deadline. If you sign up today, you'll be in our group starting Monday. Otherwise, the next opening is 4 weeks out. This is genuinely true, requires nothing artificial, and gives people a real reason to act now. He also describes seasonal urgency, wrapping the same core offer in a different seasonal name to create a fresh deadline. The New Year Transformation Challenge is the same as the January Lean Challenge is the same as the Valentine's Momentum Sprint. Different name, different date, same program. The emotional freshness is enough. Deadlines, he writes, drive decisions. Bonuses are the next layer, and this is where things get interesting. The insight here is that a single offer is psychologically worth less than the same offer broken into its named component parts and stacked one by one. If you include everything in a flat package, customers can't register the individual value of each piece. But if you announce each element separately, this comes with the program, then this, then this, then this, Each edition creates a new moment of perceived value. The price-to-value gap expands with every revelation. Hormozi compares this to infomercials. They're still running because they work. Nobody says, but wait, there's more because it sounds nice. They say it because adding one more thing at the right moment has consistently been shown to convert more sales than not saying it. A good bonus solves a specific remaining doubt. If the customer is almost ready but worried about one lingering obstacle, the right bonus neutralizes it. He gives the example of a client who always ate out for lunch, which conflicted with a strict meal plan program. Rather than lose the sale, Hormozi created a restaurant eating guide on the spot and closed her. That guide then became a permanent bonus for every future client who had the same objection. Guarantees are the final, and possibly most powerful, layer of the offer. The single greatest reason people don't buy, Hormozi argues, is risk. Not price. Not timing. Risk. The fear that it won't work. That they'll hand over money and get nothing back. Reversing that risk changes everything. He cites research suggesting that a strong guarantee can 2 to 4 times the conversion rate of an offer. The math almost always favors the guarantee, even if your refund rate doubles, if your conversion rate triples, you've come out well ahead. He describes 4 types. Unconditional guarantees, no questions asked, full refund for any reason, are the strongest and riskiest. Conditional guarantees tie the refund to specific actions the customer takes, which filters out the uncommitted and focuses both sides on the behaviors that actually drive results. Anti-guarantees, all sales are final, can actually increase desire when framed around exclusivity. And performance-based implied guarantees, you only pay me when I deliver results, are Hormozi's personal favorite, because they align every incentive perfectly. His own favorite, though, is the service guarantee. If you don't achieve X by Y, I'll keep working with you at no additional charge until you do. No money returned, but the outcome will be delivered. In his experience, almost no one ever takes it, because clients who follow the program get results, and those who don't tend to walk away before the period ends. Together, the offer, the stacked components, the scarcity, urgency, bonuses, and guarantee, these form the complete architecture of a Grand Slam offer. The only thing left is what to call it. Naming, Hormozi argues, is not cosmetic. The same offer with a different name can generate 2 to 10 times the response rate, because a name either speaks directly to the customer's desire or it doesn't. He offers a formula he calls MAGIC. The M is a magnetic reason why, something that answers why is this offer available right now. It could be a seasonal hook, a grand opening, an anniversary, a challenge, anything that gives the offer a reason to exist today rather than some indefinite future. The A is the avatar, the specific person you're speaking to. Not business owners but brick-and-mortar gym owners. Not women but Austin moms. The more the customer feels called by name, the more likely they are to respond. The G is the goal, the dream outcome, stated as specifically and viscerally as possible. The I is an interval, a time frame that sets expectations and makes the promise feel concrete. And the C is a container word, something that signals this is a system, a bundle, a transformation rather than a single transaction. Challenge, blueprint, accelerator, intensive, sprint. He gives examples: free 6-week lean by Halloween challenge for busy Austin moms. Every word is doing work. Free removes the first friction. 6-week is the interval. Lean is the dream. Halloween is the reason why. Busy Austin Moms is the avatar. Challenge is the container. And it rhymes, which helps it stick. And importantly, you don't have to change the offer when the name gets stale. You only change the wrapper. The New Year New You Challenge and the Spring Tone Up Sprint might be delivering exactly the same program. What changes is the skin it's wrapped in, and that fresh skin is enough to re-engage people who ignored the previous version. There are 2 books worth reading alongside this one, each filling a genuine gap that $100 million offers deliberately leaves open. The first is influenced by Robert Cialdini. Hormozi uses the principles of scarcity, social proof, and reciprocity throughout this book, but never fully explains why they work at the level of human psychology. He tells you to use a guarantee. Cialdini explains why reversing risk is so neurologically compelling. He tells you scarcity increases desire. Cialdini shows you the exact mechanism, loss aversion, and why fear of losing something is consistently more motivating than the prospect of gaining something. If you want to apply Hormozi's tools with the precision of someone who understands the underlying wiring, Cialdini fills that gap completely. The second is the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Al Ries and Jack Trout. Hormozi talks about creating a category of one, but never explains why owning a position in the customer's mind is what makes the offer work in the first place. Ries and Trout spend an entire book on exactly that, their central argument being that marketing is a battle of perceptions, not products, and the business that defines its category first wins almost regardless of what follows. Understanding positioning before you build your offer means you're not just constructing something irresistible, you're constructing it to occupy a space no one else can claim. Now for the honest critique, because this book deserves one. The first limitation is audience. This book was written for entrepreneurs who already have a product or service with at least some traction. If you're pre-revenue, some of the frameworks, especially the guarantee and pricing discussions, assume a level of existing proof and confidence that most first-timers don't yet have. Hormozi acknowledges this, but the emotional tone of the book speaks to people who have already been in the arena and know the feeling of losing. The second is that the book is deeply rooted in one domain, direct response marketing, primarily for service businesses. The examples are gym owners, agencies, consultants. The principles translate, but they require more interpretation for product businesses, software companies, or markets with longer sales cycles. If you're building a SaaS product or selling to enterprise, you'll spend more time adapting than applying. The third, and subtler, limitation is one of ethics. Hormozi is clear that the offer must actually deliver what it promises, and he genuinely believes this. But some tactics, especially around naming and urgency, exist at the edge of psychological pressure. Used by someone with a mediocre product, these tools could lead customers toward purchases that don't serve them. Hormozi's answer would be that the market corrects this, refunds rise, reputation falls. But in the short run, the line between compelling and manipulative is one the reader has to find for themselves. None of this diminishes the book's core contribution. The value equation alone is one of the most clarifying frameworks for thinking about any product or service I've encountered. Once you see it, you use it as a lens for everything. Why is liposuction worth 20 times what a gym membership costs? Why does Xanax outsell meditation courses by billions? Value isn't about what something costs to make. It's about what it delivers, how fast, with how much certainty, and how little friction. So here's what I'd like to leave you with tonight, as you drift towards sleep. Think about something you sell, something you make or offer or do for other people, and ask yourself, What is the dream they're actually buying? Not the thing you provide, the life they imagine when the thing works perfectly. Now ask, what are all the reasons they're afraid it won't work for them, specifically? And what would it mean to solve every single one of those fears, completely, before they even had to ask? That's the core of the Grand Slam offer. Not a slick pitch or a clever name. A genuine attempt to take on all the risk, solve all the problems, and make the obvious choice clear. You don't have to rebuild everything at once. One question is enough for tonight. What is the one fear, the one doubt, the one perceived obstacle that keeps your ideal customer from saying yes, and what would it look like to remove it entirely? Let that settle in while you sleep. There's much more in the full book, including an entire final section on execution, on how to make your first 100,000, and on the specific mechanics of deploying these frameworks in a real business that deserves your attention. The link to grab a copy is below, and it helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. Sleep well, and we'll see you at Whispering Pages for the next one.